Alright. Welcome back everyone, Dustin Ziga here, and today we are talking Lightroom Classic. Yes, it is time for a Lightroom tutorial, and I am so stoked to share these tips with you guys. Ready? Let's go. Lightroom Classic is an incredibly powerful tool when it comes to your photos. It just has the ability to take your photos to the next level with all the updates that it's gone through and everything. This is by far like one of my favorite programs to use for my photos. Now, the tips I'm going to be sharing with you, I literally use these every single time I do either a photo shoot, an event, or anything, any photo. I use probably 90% of these tricks or tips in each photo. That's how much I use them. Wait, does that say I edit too much? No. Tip number one is autotone. Now, autotone is a really useful way to just kind of get like a good base and a good starting point for an edit. After you import your photos and you're looking at a photo and you're wondering where to start, if you look over to the right here on the right side under your adjustment panel where it says exposure, tone, and right beside tone on the right side it says auto. If you click on auto, this is kind of what Adobe Sensei thinks is a good starting point of how the photo should look. So you'll notice it fixes the exposure, it adds a little bit of contrast, it drops the highlights, lifts the shadows. Now, in no way is Adobe saying that this is the final product. This is just a really good starting point. This just works on your basic adjustment panel. It doesn't do anything with your HSL sliders or your luminance or anything else. It just focuses on the basic auto correction. Okay, tip number two is white balance. Now, white balancing, it can be really difficult if you didn't do it while you were shooting. If you were just turning on your camera and you want to snap that quick photo in that instance without losing the moment, absolutely, we've all been there. And you're looking at a photo wondering, is this properly white balanced? Under the basic panel, you'll see this little eyedropper tool. If you click on that and then select the most whitest area of the photo that you can, and it kind of white balances a little bit. Now, in this particular photo, it was shot at sunset. It took a lot of the orange out. That is tip number two, is auto white balance. Tip number three is color select. Now, what I mean by color select is when you slide down to your HSL and color control panel, you have the control over the hue, the saturation, and the luminance of every color in the photos, which runs from red all the way to magenta. But if you want to target a very specific color and you're not sure if it's going to be a mix between a couple of colors, this little circle icon on the left side of the grid, if you click on that and then go over to the photo, let's say you want to target a very specific color such as the green slider for the luminance of that specific color in the photo, you click on that and then all you have to do on your trackpad, on your mouse pad, is slide up to raise up the luminance, or bring down the luminance. And remember that when you color select, this affects all the green in the entire photo. Just keep that in mind when you're sliding those sliders all over the place. Moving on to number four. Tip number four is levels and grids. Now, it sounds kind of like the snakes and ladders game, but what I'm talking about is using the grid. Now, if you go up here to this little jobby and click on that, that opens up the crop overlay, which is basically opens up your grid panel and it gives you the intersections. Now, what you can do with this is, a really helpful tip with this is, once you hit on the grid, try hitting the letter O. Now, what O does is it cycles through all the different grids and shows you exactly everything. Now, one of the ones I'm particularly fond of is the dimensions, which gives you the dimensions for a 4x5, a 2x3, a 5x7, and it will show you exactly what is going to be your composition for that particular size of photo. Now, another one, if you keep on cycling, is you'll kind of send you through a loop, pun intended, is the golden spiral. Now, with this is kind of like an advanced rule of thirds, which is meant to help guide your eye through the photo to what you are trying to focus on. Now, in this particular photo, it doesn't really work well. Now, as for leveling, you can adjust the angle here on the side and try and, just tweak it a little bit. You want to fix your horizons, and with the grid, it gives you a lot more lines so you can kind of level off the horizon. Is it exact? It's pretty close, but how do we get more precise? on the left side here of that line, if you click on the little angle icon and come back over to the photo and click and drag from one side of the horizon to the other, boom, it tweaks it. It's just a little bit more precise. This is a tool I wish I had used a lot more when I first started editing my photos, was fixing my horizon. I could get my horizons perfectly level and it just makes that photo just that much a little, you know, just that little adjustment, just a little level. Tip number 5 is reset. Let's say you've edited a photo and now you're looking at it and wondering, you want to take it right back to 0. Well, you can do that by hitting reset on the right side and it takes it right back to the raw photo of when you imported it. But let's say you wanted to just target a specific thing. Maybe you just want to fix the contrast or the shadows and bring those back down to 0. Now what you can do is you can bring your slider and try and get it, 0, no, -2, no. A very easy way to do that would be just double clicking on that specific thing that you want to bring back to 0. If it's for shadows, for example, double click on shadows, the blacks, double click on black, and it'll bring it down back to 0. This is all just about saving time instead of playing around with it and trying to get it back to 0, right? Let's go to number 6. So number 6, we're calling lights out. So lights out is a really useful tool and I use this all the time when I'm editing my photos. Hit the letter L on your keyboard. That will dim the background. Hit it once more, pure black. This gives you an uninterrupted, no distractions look at your photo where you can just sit back and look and say, what do I need to change? Did I go too far with that edit? Or you just want to sit back and admire your work. That's a good photo. Yeah. Now, if you want to adjust the intensity of the lights out, that's very easy. Go up and click on the Lightroom Classic, go to Preferences, and then under Interface is where you will find the Lights Out tab. Now the screen color, you can set that as a black as default. My dim level, I have mine set to 80%, but you can change that to whatever you want, 70, 50%, or 90%, however much you want that to dim. Moving on to number 7. So number 7, we're talking before and after. Now, a really great way to tell if you've gone too far with an edit or you haven't gone far enough is if you hit the letter Y on your keyboard, that will bring up a side-by-side comparison. Now, this one I don't particularly like to use all that much. What I like to do is instead of hitting the letter Y, hit the slash key, and that will instantly take it right back to the before as you imported it. The original, after. Original, after. This one, you'll be able to see, what do I need to change? Did I go too far with that? Or what more can I do to make this photo really? Okay, so number 8 is creating a copy. Now, this is a huge lifesaver and I wish I did this so much more in the beginning when I first really started getting into photography. I really wish I did this a lot. So down here at the bottom, let's say that you have a photo and you really like how the edit has come along. Go down to the photo, right click on the photo, go to create virtual copy. Now what this does is it will create a duplicate copy of the edited photo and you'll see a little page turned icon and you'll have 1 of 1 and 2 of 2. Now what I really like to do with this is when I'm exporting a collection of photos, I like to keep an original maximum size. It's not cropped, it's not changed anything. And the second one, that's where I make all my adjustments, whether it be for Instagram, my website, or I make it black and white, or a different style of photo, but you still have the original. So many times I have lost photos and I had to go back and find the raw image and then re-edit it to try and match it and then resize everything for a different platform or for a different website or whatever. So many times I've been in this boat and so many times I've just hated my life. This will save you time. Create a virtual copy. It is a lifesaver, trust me on it. Number 9, we're calling organization. Yes, it's a boring title, but it is so true and is so helpful. Lightroom has a brilliant, absolutely incredible organizational system in it. So, when you're going through your photos in this bottom here, if you want to just go through the entire photos before you start editing, a really fast way to do this is numbering them. If you hit 1 through 5, it will give that a rating of 1 through 5. You hit 1, gives it 1 star, or 5 for 5 stars. Me, typically, what I like to do is, if I like a photo, I'll hit 5 stars. If I don't, I just skip it. Now, if I'm kind of on the fence with the photo, what I like to do is you hit the letter P. That's gonna flag it as a pick. If you want to unselect the flag pics, then you hit the letter U. So this is a really great tool that if you're sitting down with a client or you have a really large collection of photos to go through, whether you did an event or a party or a wedding or whatever, this is a really great way to kind of speed up your workflow, is that you'll go through and just immediately select, okay, gonna edit this one, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, no, 3, kind of good, pick. Now this is also a really great way that if you're sitting down with a client, you can go through and if they like a photo, you can use the star system for them and you can use the flagging for your own pics, the ones that you like also. Moving on. So my last tip is sizing up your work area. Now what I mean by this is Lightroom comes with a preset size for your work area, like all of the controls on the right hand side. Now what you should do is rest on the border and click and drag it out, because that small grid gives you kind of a false perception of how much you're actually moving those sliders. And just sizing it up just that much, little bit more, just a little bit, does quite a bit for your workflow. It actually prevents you from over editing or pushing those sliders just a little bit too far. Yes, it is kind of a lame tip, but yes, it is very helpful, especially when it comes to just those micro adjustments, just fixing things just a little bit. It's all about those little adjustments when it comes to editing. All right, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took a couple of tips away from it, and I hope that you guys will start using this stuff and editing your own photos and making those photos really pop. All right, you guys know what to do. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys. I think I over-edited that photo. I think I might have over-edited it. Oh dear. All right, time to go back to editing. Later, guys.